$80 per day. Wow, that's a significant amount. I mean, that's over what, 80 times 7, that's over 400, 500 bucks per week. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode here on the CYPRX YouTube. Today, we actually have a special guest. We have one of our private CYPRX community members, also a member of the Wealth 28 Club. And so in today's video, we're going to be discussing and talking about DeFi-related topics, possibly going over our personal journey, talking about mindset and transformation, different DeFi strategies, maybe even that we're participating in to passively earn income with our digital assets. So I'm going to let our guest introduce himself. If you guys enjoy and like this interview, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. What's going on? If you don't mind, just briefly introducing yourself to the people watching, maybe even possibly share how you first got into cryptocurrency, got into DeFi. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Well, name's Remy. Well, over at Twitter or Discord, name's Captain Morgan. Man, this is stressful. Got used to that. So yeah, I got into the cryptocurrency universe about 2 years ago. A friend of mine just jumped in. Like, he goes on Facebook and say, whoever wants to learn about cryptocurrency, like be my guest, and then just do me something to eat, whatever, and we'll have a beer and drink about crypto. So he goes and speak at that period. I was like, really, well, I'm really, when I do something, I just don't do it a little bit. I do it to the maximum. And at period of the time, I was really reading about world farm economy. And then he got into me in the speaking about Brad Garlinghouse going to the farm economic each and every year. So that really tingles my attention to this main character. And then I upon reading, then you go and read about Jeb McCaleb, which is he's one main character in the scene there. So it really got my attention behind the scene of the cryptocurrency. And then I dived into the blockchain, because, well, everybody knows that cryptocurrency doesn't exist with blockchain. So I kept on reading, and the more that I read, the more that I realize that people, I tried to explain the difference between Facebook, which is like more emotional, and I never actually had one good research upon Facebook. People are like XRPs as a scam. But when you go into Twitter, that's the other side of the medal there. And this is where I found you. And this is where I found Mr. Man too. So you guys are taking the deep dive into the information. It's really, really interesting what you guys are up to, and the tiny everything. I have time to read, but I don't know how many hours you put in, but it's
hours, too many to count, too many to count.
So upon that search, then I found the two of you guys, which I really say you're like the cream of the crop of Twitter. Never find somebody who take that more information and explain, passively explain to the people. So yeah, so I really got, you really got me into this, and the truth behind cryptocurrency and the DeFi is just goes together.
Yeah, I agree with a couple of things that you said. First off, 2 years into crypto, and you've made such exponential moves and whatnot. And I mean, the fact that you're even participating in the ecosystem the way that you are, we'll get into that in just 1 second, is phenomenal, because it takes a lot of time for people to digest this information. Like you said, you're talking about Facebook and kind of like how the mainstream narrative orients people's attention to thinking that crypto is a scam. But in reality, there's this deep surface level information that you have to kind of brush past the distraction information, and you start to see, picking apart pieces of the puzzle, that these organizations, these CEOs, these intertwined webs and interconnected connections behind the scenes go so much deeper. You talked about the World Economic Forum and whatnot. And that's something that the mainstream doesn't really pick up on. They don't tell you those things. So it's really cool also that you came and you found myself and Mr. Man in this space early on in your career, because think of how much of a headache that saved you.
True.
Following, following other mainstream influencers. I couldn't imagine people that are just like, they're just here to spike people's dopamine instead of giving them good, valuable information. Um, and then something else that you mentioned that I can also relate to is when you take on something in your life, you go full force to it. You don't just half-ass it. You commit yourself to it 100%.
Yeah.
It's something that I learned in the military, is to give it your best effort, to give it your all, and not to do a half-ass job. So I'm the same way. If I read a document or if I jump into a new project, it's like I have to finish and I have to stay committed to that and learning it as to the fullest extent almost. And so that's a good quality trait to have in crypto. How long, just real fast off the top of my head, since you've been in crypto for 2 years, how long have you been a member of the CYPRX community, either the Wealth 28 Club, the Discord, or the trading material? How long have you been
From this January. Oh, no, my bad. From July.
July of this year? So you're relatively speaking about half a year in.
Yep.
Half a year, and that's outstanding. That's outstanding. And I mean, are you more participated in the DeFi ecosystem, the DeFi community in CyberX, or more so the trading side of things? Or both? What are you?
I got into like when I do something like, say you do like cooking, okay, and then the stuff is good, then you need to switch a little ingredient at a time, just to not making any issues. And I know we won't speak about like I was at the just lost my impermanent loss. So there's so many stuff going around with like the DeFi that I only take one pool, and right now I'm from the OG on Saucer Swap still doing like a Hbar and a USDC pool. It's actually really crazy, but I never went into other pools, and this is just lately that I don't know if you invest into Velo, not Velodrome, but Volatility.
Of course.
They're pushing their stuff right now, which is really interesting, and there's get that 40% EPR right now that they're pushing for the next 3 months, January up to March, which is actually funny. To like, it's almost like everything is already pre-scheduled.
So you're definitely more so oriented in the DeFi niche category in CyberX, just fixated on DeFi, earning passive income
Yep.
on your digital assets. Do you care to kind of openly share, maybe not all of your portfolio, but just in general, how much per month, in a sense, that you're actively making from DeFi investments alone?
Right now I'm doing $80, not 18, $80 per day.
$80 per day. Wow, that's a significant amount. I mean, that's at the end of the day, I mean, that's over what, 80 times 7, that's over 400, $500 per week. And I mean, that's all just straight DeFi passive income. That's, I mean, that's phenomenal. That's an accomplishment within itself. What was, let's go back to your original approach in crypto, kind of before you found myself and Mr. Man, and enlighten yourself in the DeFi ecosystem. What was your mindset when you first discovered DeFi, when you first discovered what capabilities it had, before you dove into and actually learned it? Did you think that it was a scam, too good to be true? Were you like that type of person that was like, "Oh, I can't," or
Actually, the funny part about when I joined in July, your Wealth 28 Club, it's actually my wife. Because at that time I had a portfolio of 30K. And that's way before Trump enters the ring, and then the market goes crazy. Now it's even higher. But and then my wife goes and say like, so what next? So you have that like a standstill kind of portfolio, not doing a thing, and I go like, yeah, just you wait. Like there's an agenda, things will come in, and just you wait. And then there's something behind the Wealth 28 Club that I didn't foresee at first. as I was more thinking of a kind of an approach of a day trading class instead. So my wife just shook me and say like what are you waiting for? And they like so at that same day that I just like I'm a home I'm a carpenter. I work for myself. I don't have no employee, and it's all good like that. I'm doing way enough. So I just grant me about the 2 weeks or so, and then I dive the whole Wealth 28 club to figure it out. That's this is not where what I was thinking was going to be, and then
Mhm.
I totally fell in love of the approach of the be your own bank kind of thing,
Mhm.
and it all goes all together with what I already read from the 2030.
Okay. For sure. So kind of like the Wealth 28 Club just enhanced your ability to capitalize on DeFi opportunities. That's phenomenal. Now you're making $80 a day. I mean, I'm sure that that number fluctuates, but I mean, still anything more than $25 a day is sustainable income. And I think that that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about this space is that if you do it in a mature and strategical and logical fashion, and you're careful with your approach to DeFi, you can really come up in this space and increase your holdings significantly. Um, it is a very unregulated niche in the crypto industry. Maybe kind of let's just discuss and talk about that perspective. What now having been involved in DeFi, okay, you've started to do and dive into the research, especially the research that myself and Mr. Mann commit ourselves to. What role do you personally see DeFi opportunities playing in the future? Do you think that this becomes the normal in the crypto ecosystem? Do you think that traditional financial players are going to be utilizing DeFi? Maybe just
Yeah,
run through a little bit of your perspective on that.
I'm totally sure this is I don't want to go like conspiracy and all that, but the Great Reset is all from my thinking simply like the whole financial system that needs a Great Reset. And I don't know, it's I don't see. Well, I'm just trying to sell the DeFi to everybody that talks to me with cryptocurrency. It's not even like a holding thing anymore. It's just like even still in a bear market, you can do like passive income like daily. So this is crazy. Like the little pool that I'm here in Hbar, which grants me about like $80 per day. Like I have like that huge portfolio that I could just like swap there and already like not even work anymore.
Yeah, I'm the
I
same way. I'm the same way. If I put all of my long-term holdings that I have in my cold storage wallet and I added that to my DeFi portfolio, I'd probably be making about $10,000 per month in just DeFi passive income. I won't though, because I separate the way that I strategize in DeFi is I have a blue chip bag, I have long-term holdings that I hold in cold storage wallets that I'll never touch. And then I have a DeFi portfolio that consists of about $35,000. And that's the money that I use for DeFi that's completely separate from my long-term bags. And that's particularly just because DeFi is unregulated right now. So I'm not willing to expose,
true.
my seven-figure crypto portfolio to DeFi yet. So I just started a completely separate portfolio to dabble around in DeFi and to teach myself the platforms and to get comfortable on dexes. And again, this isn't financial advice. It's my personal opinion that that's what people should do if they're interested in DeFi. You mentioned earlier that when you take on something, you don't dip your toe in the water. You kind of just jump in. DeFi isn't really like that. If you do that, you
Yeah,
expose yourself to more risk. And so, what we try to convey at CyPRX and in the Wealth 28 Club is if you take a mature approach, you go through your audit check, you look at the platforms, you make sure the TVL is healthy, you really learn the platform in and out, you look at the devs, you communicate with the devs in Discord, and you ask questions. Um, the DeFi space is actually really easy to navigate once you kind of know what you're doing in a mature fashion, and you're not just here for some quick get rich quick scheme. Earning passive income is the new wave, in my personal opinion. To capitalize on the question that I asked you, what's the vision for the future of DeFi? I personally think it's going to be the norm in the next 5 to 10 years, probably even sooner than that. I'd personally, based off the research that I've done, know for a fact that these financial institutions, they're not going to come in and just buy these assets and hold them on their balance sheet and some cold storage wallet for the long term. They're going to want to earn and generate passive income. They're going to want to lend. They're going to want to borrow. They're going to want to provide liquidity, be market makers in this market. And so DeFi opens the door to average everyday retail investors, and it gives us an equal access level playing field to participate in this space, to earn rewards, to lend, to borrow, to aggregate liquidity on the same playing field that these financial institutions have had for years. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't understand. So, this is just a general question, but and the reason why I want to ask this question is because so many people are skeptical about DeFi. So, due to the unregulated environment that we operate in, how do you, in your investment approach towards DeFi, you said you're operating on Sauce or Swap. How do you kind of navigate the regulatory uncertainties? How do you kind of mitigate that risk? Do you see Salsa Swap is a platform, and again, not financial advice, that's more trustworthy because it operates on the Hedera network, and we know Hedera is attempting to be regulatory compliant, so on and so forth. Like, what's your perspective on the regulatory side of things and how people can kind of maybe take some necessary steps to mitigate that risk, considering that DeFi is heavily unregulated?
Well, that's a huge question. Well, starting by the fact that mainly my portfolio runs around ISO 20022, and there's from my search that I've done, all of those will be going around DeFi, but mainly I would say that a good search with either ChatGPT or Grok from Twitter can handle any question regarding if they have if they're audited or not, if they have issues. See, for it was something going around with the USDT that everybody was speaking like there's some sort of uncertainties around them. So you get to like I don't know a word like but not. Take good steps toward like every move you do. So yeah, I do when I do something, I do it to the maximum, but still there, well, we're talking about money here, and like when you're moving 10K from wallet to another wallet, you got to take I don't know, there's the one word that I'm missing right now, not patient, but it's
You got to be careful. You got to be careful.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to be
Mhm.
careful. Exactly. So taking a little amount and then do the transfer to make sure that it goes to the proper wallet, and you got to take every steps properly. And this is the best part that I can say with the Wealth 28 Club is you explain exactly every steps slowly and patiently, which really helped me because sometimes I just like re-listen to videos all over again just to like to make it goes into your head. There's some specific steps as an investor that I told myself like just like to invest money that I can afford to lose. And you got to be not stable, but you got to be firm with yourself when you're doing those steps, and to make them every each and every time. I'm not sure.
100%. I agree. I think that people take a rushed approach to DeFi, and that's what leads them to losses because they treat DeFi like they treat crypto investing, and that's to get rich quick, to just wing a degen meme coin play and 1000x their portfolio. For me, DeFi is all about consistent, steady returns over a prolonged period of time. I mean, I've been making passive income every single day with DeFi this entire year, which has significantly not only scaled my long term portfolio because the strategy that I use is the DeFi passive income that I'm earning because it's the market's money, right? I'm generating trading fees by being a liquidity provider. As I take that money that I'm earning, and that's the money that I buy blue chip assets with. So that way it's the market's money. Collectively speaking, it's risk free at that point because it's not my hard earned income that I'm implementing into this space. But you also mentioned checking for audits and making sure there's so many different things that you can do to mitigate risk in DeFi. And I feel like that's one of the things that we try to touch on in the Wealth 28 Club, is trying to get people to see that there's a checklist that you should go through before you operate on platforms. And platforms like Saucer Swap or Velodrome, if you're operating on those platforms, it's most likely because you went through that checklist and you said, okay, this platform has a good audit record. You can contact the devs, you can contact the developers. They're open with their community. They have a 2025 roadmap or a looking ahead roadmap, so you know what they're going to be doing. They have healthy TVL, not only healthy TVL on the entire platform as a whole, but also the digital asset, the native asset of the DEX itself, or the platform and DeFi that you're using, is attempting to be, regulatory compliant, or so on and so forth. Like, there's so many just little tiny things that you can check off the box to mitigate that risk. And that's really what investing is about. We're operating in a space that is inherently risky, and so you cannot rid yourself of that risk, but there are ways in DeFi that you can take via a strategical and logical approach to mitigate that risk in this uncertain regulatory environment that we operate in, if that makes sense, right? In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Are there any specific, so you said you're operating on Saucer Swap, so I'm assuming that you're more so of a liquidity provider in DeFi, because you know that there's different niche categories in DeFi. Like, you could be a lender, you could be a borrower, you could be a yield aggregator. It seems like you're primarily a liquidity provider. So, in your liquidity provision strategies, I guess I already know the answer to your question, but are there any strategies that you take, or any approach that you take, to kind of mitigate impermanent loss? I feel like a lot of people stray away from DeFi because of that word, impermanent loss. Is there anything in particular that you do to mitigate that? Like, I'm assuming because you're in Saucer Swap, you're heavily invested into Hbar, right? And so for me, being a liquidity provider on Saucer Swap, I don't really care if the price fluctuates in my liquidity pools, because I believe in the long-term value of Hbar. So one of the ways that I mitigate my exposure to impermanent loss is I really only provide liquidity in liquidity pools with blue chip assets that I think are going to survive long term. So that way I can hold the positions long term, because I believe in the long term valuation of the digital assets. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I do too. My pool, like I said, I'm on a USDC and Hbar, which mitigate, like minimize the risk, as a stable coin won't fluctuate like on a daily basis. That's one thing. And I won't even, like myself, I'm not even in meme coin. I don't hold any meme coins at all. It's not, I don't have time for this. And the second thing that it's really useful, and it's unimaginable, it's Mr. Institutional Scalper. I just screw his name there. Can give you delta on your Discord, private Discord, which is the guy just answered every time.
The most accurate levels. Yeah, absolutely. So setting those ranges nice and tight and accurately, using the institutional deltas. Absolutely, man. It's 100% a necessary endeavor if you're trying to be successful in DeFi. Yet again, though, it's something that a lot of people don't know that they can have access to. And we're literally the only community on the face of the internet right now with access to those from a retail standpoint, which is astronomical. What do you plan to, this is something that I come across a lot, is a lot of people think that the road to wealth, and I was this person back in 2021, is to, after this next bull market cycle, whatever cycle we're in, to sell your cryptocurrency for fiat and then wait for a pullback and refunnel that money back into crypto and just keep doing that cycle after cycle. Now with DeFi and the awakening that you've had, understanding that you can utilize your digital assets to earn passive income, or if you are going to sell your digital assets, you can transition those into stable coins, which then in those stable coins, you can put into passive income earning strategies, earning in upwards of anywhere between 17 to 40% on stable coins. What do you now plan to do after this next bull market cycle with your portfolio? How do you plan to, constantly generate yield and participate in this wealth transformation now that you know about DeFi?
as a carpenter, I'm like really using my arms, my hands, and I'm really broken. So I'm really putting all my focus to make that work, to make all of my my portfolio working for me. So the answer is simple. I really want to pay, like, to not to pay, to stay more with my childrens and have time with them, and just like I need to like cut down some jobs that I do from my living, and then transfer slowly this to the DeFi, and then to up to an horizon of I really want to dive more into like not day trading, but something close to that. So yeah, definitely it'd be like, if I'm, let's say we're November 25, I'm really hoping to deploy the maximum out of my bag into DeFi, making like more money into DeFi, and then afterwards maybe like not quit my job, but switch things around, get things easier.
Let me orient the question more so towards a straightforward answer. Now that you know about DeFi, what would you say about an individual that wants to sell their crypto for fiat
Oh,
compared to now that you know about DeFi?
no.
Just no, just
Okay.
no, just no.
No, it's simple. Like your money. You are in US, us in Canada are just doing the same. People think a dollar is a dollar and it stays a dollar, but the power that you have with your fiat is just like going down with inflation. So you're literally like losing money, and the on the other end, the cryptocurrency is like going up. So the myself, the maximum that I can like transfer to like the not DeFi but cryptocurrency, I'm doing it. My money is out.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. My mindset surrounding what I plan to do and what portions of my portfolio I plan to sell have completely and drastically changed. Like, for example, I have a seven-figure crypto portfolio, and in the early stages of, way before I got involved in the DeFi, I was thinking I'm going to sell my entire crypto portfolio and buy back in when the market crashes again, and just keep doing that over and over. Now, in terms of percentages, I really only plan to sell for fiat. Maybe like 10 to 15% of my long-term portfolio will be transitioned into fiat, so that way I have cash. Outside of that, I'd say 75 per 8 to 80% of my long-term blue chip assets, just like you said, will be rotated into the DeFi ecosystem to generate me passive income. I've now come to this awakening that we have the ability to never have to sell our digital assets.
Yeah,
If it's fiat that you want, for example, I use the XRP as an example quite often because the XRP community is so fixated on eventually selling their XRP for some high price, right?
yeah,
But in reality, it doesn't matter if XRP's a dollar or if XRP's $1,000. You can utilize your XRP in the future in the same way, no matter what the price is, and that's to generate you passive income. So if you want cash, if you want fiat, if you want stable coins, you can use your XRP without ever having to sell it in the DeFi ecosystem to generate you that passive income. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't understand right now.
no,
And that's one thing that we're trying to push for people's education that in the Wealth 28 Club, is because so many people are going to get wrecked thinking that if XRP goes to $10, they're going to sell it at $10 and then get a pullback, which could never happen, and buy back in at some lower price. That is such an unrealistic strategy now that we know what DeFi has the capability to give us in this crypto Web3 niche. I mean, it's so exponential. It's insane.
yeah.
Um, Go ahead. I didn't know if you wanted to
No,
cap
it
on
was
that.
just say like I'm pretty sure next year will be like some hard battle with the stable coins, that people will need to understand the power of the stable coins instead of transferring to fiat and lose like money just to generate. The stable coin will be stand still, fixed in time, so the market can go boom, and then you just stabilize your money and then come back later, nothing happened. You're out.
Mhm. Yeah. So a couple more questions, nothing too extravagant. Could you possibly share what type of mindset from your perspective one needs to have to succeed in DeFi? What helped you develop that type of thinking? You know, I mean, there's really a transition that you have to have mentally from hodl mindset to passive income mindset. Everybody's goal in crypto, at least, you know, I mean, I feel like there's not one single person that's involved in crypto that cannot say this, but everybody's goal is to make money. If you're in crypto, you're probably here to make money. If you're not, I'm not too entirely sure why you're here. So that means we all share a common goal, but everybody's mindset's not the same. Most people have this hodl mindset. I'm just going to hold for years and years and years and eventually sell for some high end price back into fiat. What's kind of like a mindset shift that you had to make or that you think people might have to make? What's the mindset that people need to have to be successful in DeFi?
Well, that's a hard one, but the first thing that comes in my mind right now is well, that I'm on top pin of my my Twitter account is Albert Einstein's sentence say compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands gets richer. He who doesn't understand it pays for it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But one needs to understand the new financial system, and I can really
I like that. I like the comment that you made about Albert Einstein and that collectively speaking, compound interest is, you know, the eighth wonder of the world. That's the truth. I mean, it's absolute truth. If you just like you said a second ago, you know, our fiat currencies, whether it's Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, United States dollar, they're rapidly declining and will continue to do so as the governments and central banks print more money over the next consecutive couple of years. And to the every average day person that is uneducated and not financially literate, they don't understand that. They see their dollars as just dollars, and they don't understand that their dollars don't have the same purchasing power that they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And it's only going to continue to depreciate. And so, for me personally, you know, utilizing DeFi is a way to combat that. And you have to have the mentality to understand that if you don't attempt to thrive and strive in this new digital environment, then you're more prone to be susceptible to manipulation or to fear mongering or to whatever digital controls that they're going to attempt to implement on the people. If you don't have financial freedom is different from person to person. For me, financial freedom is just having enough money, steady passive income to pay for your necessities and some of your wants and needs. And through the utilization of DeFi with a very small amount of money, it doesn't take a lot to facilitate that in DeFi. You can achieve that. And so that's the mindset shift that I think that people need to have is, do you want financial freedom? If the answer to that question is yes, then you should look into DeFi, because selling your crypto for some high-end fiat price hodling is not the road to financial freedom as I just described. Generating consistent passive income without having to sell your digital assets for fiat is the answer to that question, in my personal opinion. So that's what I think people need to have, the mindset shift from becoming wealthy in terms of selling for fiat at some later point down the road that they don't even know is going to really come into fruition. It's just speculation, to generating passive income, consistent returns, and steadily growing a portfolio based off the assets that you already have right now. And it takes some elbow grease. You know, it's nerve wracking. It can be scary for people at first that you don't know what you're doing. I mean,
yeah.
the crypto industry, one and within itself, is rife with scams and controversy, but DeFi is even more so. And then DeFi, you have to really learn the platforms in and out. And so there is work on the beholder's part to kind of learn these platforms. But once you do, I mean, how easy was it for you after you went through the Wealth 28 Club content to navigate a DEX like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, after you put in the elbow grease, it becomes relatively easy.
It sure is sometimes scary, but when you do, like, when you got to stick to the point that don't skip any you cannot skip any steps. You need to like to be firm with yourself, like I said earlier. It's
I like that. I like that. You know, last thing, we'll cut it here because we're going on 35 minutes, and this was a really good interview. Just very simplistic. You know, I just want to really truly show people, the general public that are not involved in the Wealth 28 Club or the CyPrX community, that we have normal, everyday, average people in this community. It's nothing extravagant, nothing crazy. We do have a couple of millionaires in this community, and we do have some high end people here, but overall, with these interviews that I conduct, there are people in this community that are generating more than $25 per day in passive income. So that means it is possible for the every average day person.
Yep.
Two last things. One, generating $80 a day in passive income. Can you talk about how much your portfolio is worth that allows you to generate that much passive income?
That it's only one portfolio. It's 10K.
10K. So $10,000 deployed on the platform that you're deployed on enables you to, you know, make $80 per day. That is insane. Again, sustainable income. Okay. So you guys heard it there. It's not, this isn't like you need to go real estate investing and take out a whole entire house loan that's $300,000 to $500,000 to generate $1,000 per month in passive income. No, no, no. This is a new way of investing where with smaller amounts of money, you can generate traditional returns on a scale that we've never seen before. Like I said, it creates a level playing field. So that's phenomenal that you achieved that. And then what would you say to someone who is skeptical about DeFi? Like, let's say, for example, somebody in your family or your friend group was like, I don't want to get involved in that. What's one thing that you would say to them that could possibly change their mind?
Well, I show them my portfolio, which helps. Which helps a bit as a start. Like yesterday, we were at the counter with two of my friends here at the cottage, and I was like showing like the deltas of institutional scalper there, and like how do I put my money in, money out, and then right now I have like 247 fees to collect, and I was just like, I'll let that grow a bit, and yeah, but it's funny, but you know the hard part before speaking DeFi is to make them understand the power of the cryptocurrency. Like there's one thing, and it's actually quite simple for people to buy and just to hold. But the part of learning DeFi is, I think, for majority of the people, is it's more hard for them to understand how to. It's connecting wallets and all that. People are not used, but like I said, it's for freaking $28. Your class explained the whole stuff there. Give yourself a week or whatnot just to dive down all of those videos.
Yeah, I think too, it comes down to instant gratification. Like people inherently are already distracted by their everyday tendencies towards 9 to 5 job, family, whatever. They think that they don't have the time to learn a new skill. But in reality, if you're motivated to change your life, not only financially, but mentally and physically, because it's a whole trifecta of things that you need to, you know, supersede in to be successful. If you put in the elbow grease and you put in the time to study the content, it's once you learn it, you can implement it on different platforms. You can implement it across the entire DeFi ecosystem. And that's the best part. It takes some time, don't get me wrong, but if you're motivated to change your circumstances, CyPRX is a really safe way to start with that. Like you mentioned, you know, 2 years into this space and you came across myself and Mr. Man. And I'm happy to hear that because that has most likely alleviated you from saying any horror stories. For example, there's members in this community that didn't find us in the early days of their crypto journey and got scammed or got joined communities that didn't really give you valuable information but charged you arm and a leg, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal here at CyPrX was to provide vast amounts of value for an affordable price because it does take significant amounts of time and energy on our behalf as mentors. So we, you know, believe in financial compensation for that time, but we wanted to make it literally an unlimited amount of information for a very affordable price so that the every average day person can come into this space, can learn a detailed breakdown of how we are deploying our capital in this space efficiently and effectively to earn passive income, and decide to replicate that information, or at least build a foundation for them to start their journey earning passive income. So it's really good to see that it's working for people like yourself and many others in this community. I think that that's really all I have today, Remy. I mean, I really appreciate your time. I know that this is just a quick interview, but this again, I just wanted to bring people on that are actually profiting in this community, and see what you guys have to bring to the table to, enlighten people that are not in this community that are watching. Maybe if you have one more thing to say to anybody watching this, maybe talk about your journey, maybe talk about what you kind of like, not advice, not financial advice, but a piece of mind, a piece of advice that you could give to somebody watching this before we jump off this call today.
I was I was to say it anyway, but it's quite simple. I'm 40 years old. I have my own company, so I work about like 60 hours per week. I have 3 children, a wife, dance classes, French classes for one of my daughter. So I have the everyday life that, like, life goes fast. But instead of listening to Netflix show each and every day just to relax, you just can take some time, go to the classes, learn, and then take that money and make money out of it. Be your own bank. Can't say more, man. It defies the next step in financial institution in the world.
Just like we say consistently, DeFi is the new wave, and people are going to slowly start to wake up to that. Mark my words. We're probably going to face a period of time where we experience some trials and tribulations in the DeFi space, because, it's still relatively unregulated, but regulations are coming. But still, now's the time to persevere education, at least at the minimum. If you're not going to deploy in the DeFi ecosystem, now's the time to learn. So Remy, man, really do appreciate your time and your energy. You're always consistent in the Discord. Keep it up, man. I really appreciate you for tapping in with us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed this quick interview, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. If anybody's interested in tapping in with us here at the Wealth 28 Club, you guys can visit CYPRXtrading.com. We'd love to see you inside the private community. And if not, again, mentorships aren't for everybody. And I get that some people don't want to pay something and learn whatever. But at a minimum, even if you're not going to join our community, go out there, go attempt to attack and strive to further your education, whether that's you attempt to join panel discussions that are open via web forums on YouTube or on LinkedIn, whether that's you go and you search for your own documents and so on and so forth. I cannot stress enough that now is the time to get educated. So with that being said, many blessings to you guys. Remy, I appreciate your time, man, and I'll see you inside the Discord.
Thanks.
As always, man, take it easy. We'll talk soon, okay?